Good evening and welcome to the October 24th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And good evening and welcome. Those of you that have joined us this evening or have joined us through the internet or the cable network. We're not live streaming yet, are we? Okay. We have had a, just so folks know, we did a site walk tonight over at the central fire station. Really was looking at potentially removing trees and whatnot on either side of the central station. There's also the barrier between the Tailhouse property and the John Smith Road. So more to come on that, but it looks like we will move forward with that, but that's probably a number of weeks away from us doing. We've got to wait for the ground to freeze up and whatnot. So when that comes, David will give us a full report of what he's going to have done over there. Any announcements from the board? Sensing none. Any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Okay. Any appointments? We have no appointments. Public comment. Jack.
Good evening.
How are you?
It's been a long time since I've stood at this podium and shared thoughts with you, but I have a couple of things that I'd like to say. I suppose I'd put them under the category of a public service announcement. Gary and I had been talking about how do we make it more publicly known that we have a steering committee forming. And we're going to put some things out on various social media things, and I decided I would take a few minutes of your time to just say a couple of things. Because I think that when you okayed the steering committee, you gave the town a wonderful opportunity to make a really significant impact on how the town thinks about itself, feels about itself, and the interaction among people. I really want to address my brief comments to people we would consider citizens at large. I have no doubt that there will be library folks on that committee and that there will be rec department folks on that committee. But there are 3 slots for people who are not on either of those places. And I would really encourage people to give some serious thought to joining this community, to help us to unearth and to find ways to implement desires on the part of a larger segment of the town. Not library, not rec, there's another whole category of folks out there. And it seems to me that it would be very, very helpful if some folks would sign up for this committee. Its job is to unearth and to sort through various ideas from all sorts of places and to come back to you folks with a recommendation that this is what seems feasible, this is what we're thinking about, this is what would enhance the town. So to create a community center that serves a wide range of people strikes me as a great opportunity for this town. And I'm not sure how many people even know it exists or is in the process of existing. So we're going to make an effort to push that out and see what we can do. So again, I'm particularly interested in folks who are part of the citizens at large because they will help us make a more comprehensive understanding of the vision and mission of some possible Waterboro community center. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
As a follow-up, we only have 3 applications for this committee yet, so his comments are spot on.
Okay. Correspondence, we get the Treasurer's Report, ecomaine recycling reports for September 2017, Representative Prescott's newsletter. those are available if anybody would like to see them. They're also in the Selectmen's packet, which you can download from the town's website. Reports and staff initiatives, Selectmen's reports, start down this end. Dwayne, anything?
Well, we missed the meeting that a lot of us went to last time. When I got home, I happened to think of it, that we went into the lawyer's luncheon, supper. I think there was a lot of good came out of that meeting. I have started putting the second layer of siding on the blacksmith shop, and I would hope that within the next 2 weeks that's completely done.
Okay.
Tonight, the blacksmith fired the forge for the first time. And I believe that the Historical Society's got a blacksmith that's gonna take over there, so.
Okay.
You'll, as you ride by, you'll see smoke coming out from time to time over there.
It's good. Nice to have that working as a real shop.
Tonight, it was amazing, the draft that he's got over there and how well that works, and thanks to everybody that worked on it.
It's interesting that a number of blacksmith shops existed in town, and people kind of,
Yeah.
time has gone and nobody really thinks about it anymore, so. Tim, anything?
Yes, this coming Friday, there's an open house at How and How. They're on 661 Main Street in South Waterboro, and that is from 10 to 12. And if you haven't seen the kind of work that they do, you should probably just do a search on it, because it's some amazing stuff. And I think it should be pretty interesting.
This Friday?
This coming Friday, the 27th, from 10 to 12.
All right. About down this end of the table, Gordon? Anything?
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
And Ted?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
I did attend the board meeting at ecomaine on Thursday. We did vote on 2018 budget going forward. There's no change to tipping fees or any of that stuff, so I think and we did vote to move an additional amount of money to the landfill closure fund. And just so the landfill, I think when I went on the board, and that wasn't too long ago, but probably 5 or 6 years ago, they were projecting 2027 as a closure for the landfill. And with some of the mining and everything else that they've done with the landfill, it's now 2044 is the projected date. So, in the intent of the board is to have the closure fully funded by in surplus monies by the time that happens. So.
Dennis, just a question. When it comes to, when you say closing, does that mean that all of it will be used up? All of the old sites?
Everything that's on Running or off Running Hill Road, it's in, half of it's in Scarborough, half of it's in South Portland. But the active landfill will have to be, that's the estimated time that it will be full. And then they'll
How
have
much
to.
of that are they recycling into energy?
They still continue to dig up actual household garbage that was buried there years ago and putting that into energy. They don't break that down into recycling at all, but whatever they pull out of the landfill, they burn.
Yep.
And certainly that creates more space in the landfill, and because for every 100 tons of household waste that goes to ecomaine, that goes through the waste energy system, 10 tons comes out in ash. So they reduce by volume 90% of everything that goes in there, and that's not counting the recycling stuff. But last year was the first year that, and it's in the annual report, last year was the first year that recyclables brought in more revenue than electricity generation. So it's like $3.8 million or something of that nature, so. But the market is struggling right now with recyclables because of China is shutting some things off and whatnot. But anyway, the other thing is the school grants. You know, ecomaine started originally with issuing out about $5,000 in school grants. I think we've had one or two, I think, in the schools over the years. It's now the board puts up $20,000. So those applications have to be in by October 31st. So maybe we ought to send a follow-up letter to the superintendent. You know, they're down to the last actually week that they can do something. But if somebody's got something that they want to,
How about the superintendent and our 3 board members? Or CC to the board members so that at least it gets out
oh yeah,
to the board.
well we can certainly do that. Yeah. And that's it for ecomaine. Town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a long one tonight. So, first of all, it was nice to be at the Biddeford-Saco Chamber of Commerce 90th birthday. Tim Neal joined the crowd there. Jeff Howe of Howe & Howe was the keynote speaker. He did a good job, a very humbling and down-to-earth presentation along with information from their business, and 2 other business people were represented, so Waterboro was fairly well represented for the distance we are away. An audit update, our CPA Chris Bachman will be here on the 14th at our next meeting to present the audit publicly, and I'm supposed to have that by the end of this week so I can get to you folks. Recreation Director hiring update. As you might have seen, the ad and the job description are posted on the website. They've been put on in the Smart Shopper, the Reporter, the Waterboro website, MMA, plus 1 or 2 recreation organization websites. And the submission deadline for the Recreation Director position is noon on November 21st. Similar information for our new librarian. Similar postings in terms of local outfits for the job ad to be posted, plus at least 2 library listservs or related websites. And the submission deadline for that is 3 o'clock Tuesday the 14th. This Saturday, as you've probably seen in the media, is Drug Take Back weekend or day. Saturday the 28th, opportunity for citizens to get rid of old and unwanted prescription drugs. And that is going to happen at the Waterboro Hannaford from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. One or both of our deputies will be there. I'll be there at 10. And if you need a ride to it, or if you want some drugs picked up and taken that morning, you can call me and I'd be happy to do that. And let's see. Ordinance review work, just as an FYI, is being done. A lot of people are curious about what's going on in terms of that work. It's going to be, excuse me, at the planning board level. There'll be a good, healthy discussion, I think, on November 1st. And the planning board will have a public hearing over the next month or 2 on those changes, and then eventually make a recommendation to the selectmen in probably, I'm not sure, December or January perhaps. And now I'm going to talk at length about the next election. I think we cannot start too early to talk about this. At this past June 2017 election, Waterboro residents voted by a fairly large percentage margin, 58% to 41%, to change our form of government. Voters eliminated the traditional Saturday town meeting and replaced it with a written ballot at the Tuesday statewide June election. And this is going to make our ballot much longer. And I've got a draft here to hand out to the selectmen. They haven't seen this yet. It's just an idea. I need to know from the board and eventually staff and the public how much you want to whittle down these 35 to 50 articles we have on the town meeting warrant to much fewer questions on the actual ballot. And I'll pass that out when I get done my comments here. I've reduced them a lot, and I've whittled this down from 47 articles this past year. I think I'm down to 17 articles now. So you'll see there'll be huge areas that have been pulled together, and I need to know if you like that or not. The big thing is for the voters. Voters are going to have to spend time understanding what's going on here and studying the budget, because they're going to see questions on the ballot they've never seen before. If they've never gone to a town meeting before, they'll see questions on there, voting on the budgets that they just are completely unfamiliar with. Board of Selectmen will be having at least one public hearing in this upcoming spring. The budget committee, our 5-person budget committee, will be active starting in December or very early January. I hope meeting weekly. And town staff will be creating informational memos and documentation. Julie and I will be working on information like that, Sherry as well, on why budgets have increased or decreased. The selectmen and staff will discuss whether or not to conduct a bulk mailing to all Waterboro residents this first time out to get people more informed before that June vote. We'll be using Facebook and website postings early and often. But the biggest part of this change in how we govern ourselves is voters becoming informed before voting. People need to take the time to ask questions. This is going to be new to them. And consider early voting. We want to maximize absentee ballot voting this time around, because this ballot is going to take, depending on how it's organized, it could take you 5 to maybe upwards to 10 minutes to actually vote. And the lines are going to be long at the polling places, so we strongly encourage early voting in town hall voting booths that you can see out here now, and that will be back 30 days prior to that election. And with that in mind, I'll just hand these out. We don't need to discuss them now, but selectmen can take this as just a working document, as an idea of how much we could reduce 40 to 50 articles down to. So with that, that's it from me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
This is a very rough document.
Questions, comments?
Just a comment, but somehow we're gonna have to, on the absentee ballots, have it so that they could come in here and one of the girls are gonna be able to read this to them. If people don't feel that they can understand it, it can be read to them. And this is part of
Yep.
the duties of the town, and the same thing with going in to vote. If you don't feel that you can understand it correctly, somebody can read that to you so that you can try to understand it. You may not understand it once it's read to you, but it's still we have an obligation to do this for the,
We do that now
Yeah.
when we need to.
yeah.
Okay. Might want to poke at, not sure who in Hollis you talk to now, but Hollis is the most, at least locally, is the most recent town to go through this switch off. And just how they approached making sure that everybody got,
Okay.
you know, I mean, if they had something that worked, it might be worth us poking at anyway. And just on the drug take back, just so everybody knows, ecomaine has been certified that they incinerate all of those drugs from all over the state. So everything that flows into this drug take back thing ultimately goes to the in Portland. So. All right. Anything else, Gary?
No, thank you.
Got an update from the Department of Public Works Director on upcoming projects. David?
Well, our summer has been filled with the projects that we could get done. We did a drainage project, 2 drainage projects up on the middle road. They're complete and they're all ready for pavement. We put our paving out to bid to 2 companies, and F.R. Carroll is the low bidder. They wanted to start today paving, doing shim and overlay. Because of the rain, they weren't able to. As soon as it's dry, we have shim and overlay going on Deering's Ridge Road, the middle road where the projects are that we did. We have dirt part of the road and shim and overlay. And Things Mills Road, we took a section, it's 130 feet long on Things Mills Road up near where, if any of you are where Dave Mishu used to live, it's up near the end of the road. And that road used to lay over pretty hard, so we fixed that. They're going to pave that in, and then they're going to shim and overlay Things Mills Road and Clark's Bridge Road. And then we'll go from there. If we have time, we're gonna do some work up on Chapman's Ridge Road on the far end of it, going out towards 112. And in between that, we're,
117 or 112?
I mean 117.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so people
Sure.
at
That is
home
quite away from
know where are we going here.
Yeah.
I didn't know it came out that way.
We also have plans to pave the park and ride parking lot by the ball field on Old Alfred Road. And I'm sure there are people out there asking why we're not shimming and paving the Old Alfred Road. Those conversations are ongoing. It's something that we've got to get with the state on that and work that out with them. We have all of our salt and sand to hopefully get us most of the way through the winter. We have 1,500 ton of salt and about 3,700 yards of sand salt mixture all done. We were able to get it done earlier this year because of some bad weather. We picked away at it and finished it up. So we're all ready to go there. We have some ditching we're going to be doing on 2 or 3 of the roads and trying to get that, keep that up. And otherwise than that, it's just maintenance that comes in from patching and so on. We're going to do as much shim and overlay as we possibly can and restripe them and get them ready for winter.
Okay.
Question?
Yep.
This is a really very basic question. Can you explain what shim and overlay means?
It means that we will go up there and put a minimum of 1 inch on the center line and whatever it takes to level out the shoulder side of the road. And it's to bring it so the ripple effect and where the tires have worn into the pavement, to bring it level, and then in the future we'll put more pavement on top of it to finish the
So the
road.
shimming is to get it flat and then the overlay is another coat that goes over
It's
it?
the same thing, shim and overlay.
It's one process?
Some of it's done at the same
Yeah.
time.
Okay, thank you.
If you go up over the Osprey Hill Road, it's similar to what we did to the Osprey Hill Road.
Anything else, David? Any other questions? I see a... Okay.
And we're gonna be doing shouldering also. That's
Okay.
something that we have to do. The Osprey Hill Road especially, that'll be first. And then we will do everything else that we shim and overlay, we will shoulder also. I do have the bid sheets if anybody's interested in seeing what the difference was. The difference was quite a bit in all aspects, the reclaim and the paving part of it. So
Okay.
I think we're gonna do well.
All right. Thank you, David. Okay, under new business, accept resignation of 2 community garden committee members. We have a resignation from both Amy and Tony, right?
Yes.
Lucarelli. So what's the board's pleasure?
I move that we accept their resignations with regret. Both of them have been very instrumental in getting the community garden, off the ground and making it as productive as it is and as worthwhile to the community as it is. So I think that, a good thank you from the board should be extended to them as well.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Only because I know Bridget wanted to say something, but...
Could I speak now or let you?
Sure, no, go ahead. We'll take the vote after.
My name's Bridget McCallum, and I have a bed at the community garden. And when I heard that Amy and Tony were had come to the decision to resign from the committee, I had a really strong feeling of wanting to say, similar to what Gordon just said, a huge thank you to them, because they were really central to developing a vision that something could happen like a community garden in Waterboro. They went to many other places, researched how other towns had done it, the challenges they met, and it's Amy and Tony who may have been sort of central to that. But in talking with Amy, because I have just been there for 3 years, this is the end of the 6th year. First year was the building year, and then there have been 5 growing seasons at the community garden, which is located right behind the parking lot next to Town Hall, that a lot of people may not even know about. There are 24 beds there that are 20 feet long, 24 feet long, 4 feet wide, and they're rented by the season. And there were a lot of people who did a lot of work to make that happen. And I'd like to acknowledge that while Amy and Tony are resigning now, these other people, Missy and Lenny Dagno, John Gale, Pete Cody, Todd Smith, Doug Foglio, Cleo Smith, Dave Benton, Tom Blackburn, Gorham Sand and Gravel, Nancy Brandt, Guy York, and the Ossipee Meadow Garden Club all put a lot of time, money, work, and just daring to believe in the possibility that could happen. And as someone who lives in Lake Arrowhead, I've been here 20 years, 21 years, and when I first came, the first number of years, I was able to garden at home. But when the folks tried to plan this community garden and they applied for grants, the response was, but you're in a rural town, why do you need a community garden? And they said, well, we've got this huge number of families in town who live in Lake Arrowhead, which is a very forested area of town. I can no longer even grow part shade stuff unless I took down a lot of trees. By coming to the community garden, I have a very healthy and flourishing garden. So a lot of people in town who live in Lake Arrowhead need something like this. People who live around the lake who have very tiny lots may not be able to garden. So it's the beginning of a new chapter with Amy and Tony leaving, and there are beds available, and we'd just like folks to know that there are beds available, and this is the time, if you want to have one, to come to Town Hall and get an application. But just many thanks from many of us to Amy and Tony and everybody else who made it possible.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brady. Anything else? Not. All those in favor of accepting resignations with regrets? All those opposed? Motion carries. Sad to see him go. Jump into old business, discussion with the fire chief on leasing portable decon unit. I think Matt and I talked a little bit about what we need to talk about or whatever the case may be, but I think this becomes a bigger issue of where we really need to talk and have a workshop relative to what are the things that we know have to be done at the central station, and then how are we going to approach it in this budget year. But one of the things that got thrown out the other night was portable decon unit, and I think that your and I conversations really became of, are we really talking about, hazardous material decon? Are we talking about cleaning equipment and those kind of things? And well, I'm not sure what I know you sent a couple of pictures around, but where you stand with it. But I think from a bigger perspective, we need to put together a workshop sooner than later to talk about all of that.
I think a workshop's a great idea moving forward, so we can identify the priorities. When I saw the agenda item of decontamination unit, I wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page of what decontamination is to some is not what it is to others. We're not talking about decontamination for a hazmat team or a mobile trailer that's going out to incidents and deconning for hazmat, because that's not what we're looking for. We're talking about a shower, so that a shower and a place which you can sit and change your clothes, and you have a change of clothes, that when you come back from an incident, when you have the carcinogens and you have the toxins that are lingering for longer periods, that we want to get off from the bodies. So when they're going to the incident, they come back, take a shower, change their clothes, and they go back to work. We're trying a lot of the risk reduction methods that we can certainly do at this point, but there's a lot more that we should be doing that we can't do, because we don't have the appropriate accommodations or facilities for that. So obviously, decontamination, call it whatever you want, but as long as we're all on the same page of what that is, that's what we're talking about. Showering facilities.
Cleaning facilities.
And cleaning facilities. You know, we have a...
Somewhere where you get your stretcher in and whatnot, so it's not,
Correct. It's not just all obviously a shower, but there's this other cleaning stuff, but there's nothing that we need to have specially pumped off. It's minimal, you know, contamination, if you will. I would certainly like to have the opportunity to have a workshop with you so that we can talk about those priority items that you may have, direction from the board. We're at a standstill. We haven't done anything. We've done a few minor improvements over the course of the past year, the entrance doors and essentially normal upkeep items, but nothing of extravagant nature. So,
I think one of the things that we really got to pull out is, you know, the basic necessities that were part of the both bond packages that went down, right? I mean, within either one of those packages, the bigger package and the one that got defeated last time, was a lot of things that we need to go do, we need to fix. And I think during the budget season last year, it was the budget committee that said, let's bond them rather than put them into the operation expenses, right, or the capital plan. So, needless to say, we need to now pull out and start to put together a priority list of what is it that we need to do, and are there workarounds, like pulling in a portable unit that, you know, would be able to accommodate both equipment washdowns and, you know, people washdowns, be it shower or whatever the case may be. So I think that's really the discussion that we need to be. We can kill one of these meetings, you know, talking about one individual item for an hour, but I think the best bet is for us to get down and sit down and have a workshop.
Do you suppose workshop with the selectmen and the fire department or fire chief, or to invite the budget committee in at the same time so that we're all on the same page?
Yeah, I think
Before, I mean, this is nothing that you can do this year. It's gotta be in the 2017, 18 budget.
18, 19.
Right,
18, 19, okay.
We get public safety involved in it too.
Right, and I think that was one of the things that we had started the dialogue of involving public safety and whatnot, to see if certainly they can have input.
Just so that everybody's on the same page. The
Yeah.
first, I don't know. We want a meeting.
So
with
we need,
just the
I don't
selectmen,
know,
or do
sure when
wanna
you,
pull all these committees
when you
together?
plan on starting budget committee meetings and whatnot, but, I mean, I think we need to, you know, we're all already at the end of October, so we gotta start moving fairly quickly here,
Well,
so.
my thought would be is the number of groups and people you're talking about in that forum is going to be a lot of people. I'm not sure how much headway we would make in a night.
Well, I think really the driving force behind this has to be you and Gary, from that perspective of, hey, these are the things that we need.
These are the possibilities, but where are we gonna go?
And I think we need to make sure we include David as well.
Right. So what's your pleasure? You want to set a separate night? Our next meeting is the 14th. I would prefer not to chew up a selectmen's meeting doing it. I think we need a workshop.
Well, the 21st.
So
21?
21st of November work for everybody?
6 o'clock.
That gives you plenty of time to start to structure what the nice to have and absolute need list looks like, right? From a priority perspective. We'll run it from, 6 to 8 or 6 to 7:30 or whatever the case may be, and we'll invite public safety, we'll invite certainly the budget committee and Department of Public Works. Get everybody involved so we're all talking the same thing. And what impact that will have over as we go into So I think and the other thing that, you and I talked about, we can prep for that meeting a little bit. We need to know how much money is, in the there is a fund that continues to receive money for capital, right? Anything that we collect off in the ambulance fund over a certain amount goes into that account. So we need to pull that designated account and understand how much money is there, and because a lot of this we're not just going to throw at the tax base. We're going to have to look at, is there a revolving account that we can pull from, or is there unappropriated surplus that we can pull from? And so I think as we get closer to those things, we're going to have to look at, and we'll know the 14th, the fund balance, the official fund balance of last year is going to be closed, and check, I keep wanting to say check, but
Finalized.
what's his name?
Chris?
Chris.
Ackman?
He'll be with the audit on the 14th, so we'll have that now, done, and we'll at least know where we're headed in this next budget, and what we can afford and what we need to look at. So the 21st, that works. Gives you sufficient time to put everything together.
And I think, to be honest with you, the needs are that you saw the reports that we've had multiple times.
Yep.
I'm not sure how much more we can water everything down. We've pretty much.
Yeah, but if we say, okay, we're going to get 2 or 3 of those things done in this next budget, what are the next? There's certain ones that are going to rise to the top, right?
Yeah. Well, and knowing some of those issues cause other issues, and that
Yep.
was some of the problems we've had. There was nothing that we just throw a Band-Aid on something, and that's what we've done for a long time.
But you got I think the septic issue can easily be taken care of now, right? I mean, it's not like, geez, we got to go get money to
Yeah.
do that. It's not tons of money that have got to be invested in that. But we get the roof, we get the shower cleaning issue. You've got the office space or the conversion of
Are you
some
looking,
space.
when you say the roof, what are you talking about when you mention roof?
Well, let me ask you this: do you think all the ice is going to be not a problem this year?
No, I think you have
Okay.
a problem.
So,
But I think that, but I think before we have, maybe you give us some targets that if we're talking about this, easily the roof could consume better part of, $100,000+. If you're saying you want to keep a target for next year as.
Well, I don't know what the target is, but I think you got to look at what it is, right? That's when we fixed this roof here, right? It was like there's a
68.
number, right? You could take it or leave it, right? And I think that's what we got to look at is say, okay, what's it going to cost to fix the roof?
We were thinking of insulation more than roof. You look at the shingles that we saw tonight on top of that roof. If we're not going to pursue an addition over there for some time, if we collectively have made the decision on that, then you could make a case for putting an insulated steel roof over there and solving 2 problems. That would be to the tune of probably close to $100,000 to do that with 3 or 4 inches of insulation there.
Anyway, those are the kind of things that I think we got to air out in the
Okay.
budget, okay?
So 21st at 6
Yep.
p.m.?
All right?
Thank you.
Okay, gets us to item B, discuss possible vote on changes to the personnel policy. I think everybody should have a copy. Mine's in my computer. My computer's gone.
Do you need one hard copy, Gordon?
Yeah.
How about you, Ted?
Got it right here.
Yeah. Just get yours.
We all got it online? Should be in the packet.
Yeah, that's
If anybody wants to look at a personnel policy, we're chatting about the 3 other sets right here. You're welcome to them. I guess, do you want me to just walk through the?
Yeah, just the highlights, not that we, I'm not sure that we're ready to pull the trigger on a vote, but I think we need to at least say, okay, what's done, and, it's been a while since we visited this, so.
Yeah, I'm not really looking for decisions tonight, more a highlight. If you go to page 8, and you look at that section 3.3 in the red text there. I remember times in the county government when somebody got a job, they were elected to a job, and they weren't required to show up, and they still got paid. That's why, part of that thinking was why I added that red text, that, yeah, you may be a salaried employee and you do not receive overtime pay, but you just can't not show up to work and get paid, so that's why I put that in there. Salaried employees are expected to work at least 40 hours per week or more as required to perform the job. So that's why that's in there. Stop me, and if you don't stop me, we'll keep moving on. So, over onto page 11. We had an extensive conversation last time we visited this about testing all people for drugs. That's why this section is highlighted. Plus, at the very end of this, you'll find about, I think, an 8-page draft from the town attorney that is just a CDL drug testing, CDL driver alone drug testing. So, Dwayne, you had brought this up before. Philosophically, I mean, the board needs to decide, you know, how far beyond CDL, if anything, are we going? But back to page 11, the simple language change here, you can see the underlined red text has been changed and the strike through has been removed. Some of that is in relation to what's been going on in Augusta recently, and other just wordsmithing with Pat Dunn. Next would be page 21, and I think this is just a typo. This is talking about the 5-person Personnel Appeals Committee that I don't, to my knowledge, you've never had to appoint anyone to. And that starts on the bottom of page 20, and this is called a 5-person Personnel Appeals Committee, and the Board of Selectmen is listed in there. And then if you go to the top of page 21, the second sentence, the third sentence actually says, the board may adopt rules and regulations deemed to be necessary for the transaction of its business. In my mind, the Board of Selection should not adopt rules and regulations for this Personnel Appeals Committee. I would think that word board should say committee. Depends on who you want to call
I
the
see,
shots.
I see what you mean. So the committee, you know, it's a committee, it's not the board. The board
Personnel
being,
Appeals Committee,
right,
yeah,
I would agree with you.
yes.
Okay,
It should stay the committee, not the board.
you guys get that?
Yes,
You
I agree.
You great, Dwayne?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's exactly, okay.
good. That's a quick one. Next is 23 on vacation time. Page 23. And my question to you there is, who the heck needs 5 weeks of vacation? I'd rather pay a veteran employee to work, give them a little additional bump perhaps, which is another section here in section 8.11, in terms of longevity bonus, than give somebody 5 weeks of vacation. So if you go over to page, the top of page 28 on this same issue, there are 3 prices there you can see. After 7 years, 12 years, and 20 years of service to the town of Waterboro, you get either $13, $26, or $39 per week added as a longevity bonus each and every week after those trigger years. So Matt and I and Julie were also talking about, philosophically, about bumping that week after 20 years up to some other number instead of a 5th week. And dollar per dollar, I think if you're going to do that, you'd have to be somewhere in the mid to upper 40s from the $39 now, rather than a 20-year veteran employee who's probably going to be making, at least $500, if not more than that per week in terms of a week's vacation. This is a bit more, I guess, personal with me. I can't even use 3 weeks of vacation, so don't give me 5. But I raised the issue with you to try and pay a veteran employee more rather than give them a week of vacation, another week of vacation.
Oh,
If no questions or comments there, I'd take you to page 25. And the green note there in the middle of the page that Matt
The
raised.
question I would have on that, Gary,
Yep.
would be, bump the pay or give them an extra, bonus at the end of the year. The fifth week, if you had somebody up to that age, sickness could take over. So, can you accumulate so that they got up to 6 weeks of vacation time on the books? And when they do retire, we need
You'd pay them
to pay them for the retirement. But they could,
vacation.
they could have their vacation accumulate up to 6 weeks. And that would be like sick time. We all know what it is to get on the older side and the health problems that we have. So is it a bonus to them to, you know?
Well, you could
I
put in,
guess
you
it-
could put in a caveat there, or that instead of going to 5 weeks, keep it at 4. However, any employee over 20 weeks could accrue more vacation time,
Over 20 years.
20 years, could accrue more vacation time than somebody that
Right.
might not have 20 years. That would be
Build it up the way he was
Right.
talking.
Yeah,
There's
since
another-
they build it up.
would be another bonus or benefit for a long-term,
Yeah.
rewarding a long-term
Yeah.
employee.
Dennis, that's gonna increase one of your budget lines immensely. That bit that we have for presently for your sick time and your vacation
Yeah.
time payoffs.
Good.
We would have to
To
accrue
adjust for that.
Right,
Address for
but
it.
I'm just throwing that
Yeah.
out for you.
But,
You know,
I mean,
it's something to
you're
work
gonna-
with because,
right,
Yep.
today you're gonna spend that extra week anyway. That's coming
it don't
out of the
matter
budget
where it's
anyway.
going, so. But it would give the employee a little more incentive.
But
to-
it would have to be accrued from a financial standpoint.
Going over to sick time on page 25, Matt raised the issue, before we had talked about, and there really wasn't any opposition, I think, on the bullet right in the middle of the page, to reward good health and good attendance, an employee may use up to 16 hours of sick leave per year for personal time off for any reason the employee chooses, with the approval of the town administrator. And this creates 2 additional days for essentially, potentially anyway, all his full-time staff, which is something along the lines of, 40 vacation days you schedule in the year, or 30, closer to 30. I
Well,
guess.
in that bullet, if it doesn't have a definition of what is good attendance, what is considered good attendance, unless I didn't see it, but if it's X number of hours, if they exceed those hours, if they're well above that, then they wouldn't have an issue with paying it regardless. So there would be an automatic 2 extra bonus days to withdraw out of that sick time. If they're using their, I'm assuming that's where the time's coming out of the sick time bank.
Right.
Even if you withdraw from that, they're still going to be gaining enough hours that it doesn't matter.
And we talked about whether or not there ought to be a threshold, a minimum threshold for somebody to have in the bank for sick time to be able to do this, so. That was a suggestion that we talked about, that's not written down here.
Another reason more and more businesses aren't calling it sick time anymore. It's X amount of time, X
Right.
amount of hours of personal time a
Yep.
year.
You say the word and we'll do that if you want it.
I think it'd make more sense to call it personal time versus sick time.
Well, I mean, if people are sick, they take they
Yeah.
take the personal day. If
Right.
they want to go to the doctors, they take a personal day. They want to.
Well, if we want to do that over the next couple of months, there's no better time to do it, so don't be bashful.
Okay.
Over on page 26, in the middle of the page, I'd like some conversation and decision about this arbitrary and somewhat outdated $9,000 health and dental cap for the town's contribution, which used to cover health and dental, and it does now with one of the plans we have that everybody's in at their own choice, I might add. But
Well, we put into this budget, Leah, right? A different approach to that, right?
well, I think the same dollars, essentially, no less than that, 9,000 per person. We bumped it up for the four, we're assuming we might have 4 families that would
Right,
want
right,
that
right.
50% match to family coverage. That's over and above the 9 for the individual.
Well, the 9,000 was a number that was, I mean, every year, I mean, I can remember when it was like 6,000, and then it would go to 6,300, and then it would go to 7,200, and I think the 9,000 came from, hey, we're gonna cap it. Let's go to 9, and we're gonna cap it. That's it. So that it doesn't automatically just keep scrolling with the cost of stuff. But that's gotta be 8 or 9 years ago now that we did that. But so I guess I'd be open to rewording that somehow, but without opening up the floodgates of what it's gonna cost us for health insurance. And Lord knows what it's gonna cost us next year.
We've already got the rate,
And they went up by,
6%.
not bad.
That's a whole lot less than I expected.
We'll have it in writing. I spoke to him earlier this week. I called him.
Because I'm hearing things like 21.
Not for us,
21.
because they just had their meeting last Thursday. And she told me 6 on the plan that we have, that everybody's in right now.
Okay. Well, that's the good news then.
Have we had discussion in the past
I don't know
of,
how 6% is good news, but it's 6%.
It's better than 12 or 13.
have we always had 3 plans?
Yes.
And do we have to per MMA?
I'm not sure what the
Standards.
guidelines are, but in the 12 years I've been here, we've always.
I really think you need to, I mean, this should read for what we're doing. I mean, this is old language that's been around for years, and it probably should be, this whole 8.4 should be reworded to read like what we're doing today. I mean, with the policies that we have today, right?
Well, everybody has gone to the high deductible to save themselves from having money taken out for health and dental coverage for themselves, just as the employee.
Right.
And I didn't force people to do that, but everybody's on one plan. And
So why wouldn't it be just easier to say that's what we're gonna offer, is the one plan?
that was where I was going, as to whether or not philosophically we
You're not
wanted to
gonna
do
change anything that anybody's already got, because they've already
that. Right?
accepted that, right? So,
Yeah, if somebody wanted to go to the other 2 plans, they would have a significant amount of money taken out of their paycheck every week, because those other 2 plans are considerably more expensive. Hundreds of
So,
dollars more per
I
month for the
would
individual.
think you'd say that this is the plan that we're offering, period.
Are there any retirees still out there on different plans?
Not that I'm aware of.
But that's a completely different kettle of fish
Fish.
than,
We don't get involved with that.
Right, but that's the
Yes.
plan that we sponsor, correct? Isn't that what we were told last time? If it's a sponsored plan for the retirees' insurance, then we have to make notification to them as well.
we may have to, but that's not a plan that an employee would be on now. It's a different plan.
Right, but if we drop to go down to one plan, you're saying we're dropping our plans to go to whatever, because if we had 3 or 4, they could pick which ones they wanted.
Oh, I see your point.
If you're dropping it to one plan and they don't have POSC or whatever it is, or POS, I think the POSA.
I think you gotta look at what that impact is, but.
It's minimal, but
Right.
I can give a call to Augusta and find.
I
if
thought
there
there
is
were
anybody.
I thought there was one person that was still out there last I knew. Was that? Oh, that, nah, it was old, it was a longer employee there, I think.
Okay.
Okay, good point. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see, page 28, longevity bonus, we already talked about that. Top of page 28 there. And the last thing I had, I guess, was a copy about the charter, and that's page 32. And I think you'll agree with this, but I wanted to raise it with you. I think under this sentence, the legislative body of the municipality should not be voting on whether or not we send somebody to a disaster for leave. I think that should be the Board of Selectmen, municipal officers. You want to throw me in there too, somebody in my position, you can, but I don't think we should require a town meeting vote to give somebody disaster leave.
I would agree. That needs to be changed.
Would you prefer just municipal officers or municipal officers or town administrator?
Well, I think the ramification could be significant, right?
Oh, it could be.
So
Could be
I think-
weeks.
I think, not that this, I mean, I think this board has to be at some level involved.
Mhm.
Somebody said, hey, I'm going to Puerto Rico for the next 6 weeks.
We should just say, you know, town administrator with the board's approval.
Right. You know, maybe, yeah, town administrators, approval of the town administrator with the, well, I don't think you want to say approval twice, but
Or
It's
upon
gonna be-
recommendation of the,
recommendation of the town administrator with the Board of Selectmen's approval or something like that.
Okay, that works. Okay, and then the rest of
That
it,
probably would take care of it, just in case we didn't have a town administrator, so.
Right.
yep,
You know, if something happened and you wasn't here for 6 weeks, or had some of that sickness that you wanted that vacation time for.
So let's, you know, the elephant in the room is gonna be the drug testing, but we don't have a choice at this point. but to-
not for the CDL.
Right, so, to me, and to get into a employee-wide drug testing program is gonna be a significant undertaking. I think we need to get this revised, and we can always go back and add the other piece of it, but I think right now, we're required to do the CDL piece as part of the.
Mandate.
Right, so, I think let's get that done and get this approved, and then let's tackle the bigger piece if in fact we want to do that relative to employee testing. But I think we gotta start with something
The
here.
only thing that I would say there is, if for some reason, somebody came to work, and if one of the department heads called Gary at 8 o'clock and said, hey, I got a guy or a lady in here that I don't feel is capable of working because of, it should say in here that Gary and the department head together has the right to send them immediately
For
for a
cause.
drug test, yeah. Probable cause, I
I think you have
believe
to
it.
be careful with that, under that,
Yeah.
Bureau of Labor for that. You should have
So,
to-
yeah, I think Pat would have to tell you what.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things Pat said, is you're putting a plan in place.
You have to have an approved plan in place before you can do that, is what you're
Correct,
saying.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because at this point, all you're gonna do is to send them home, right?
Correct.
And they may not be
I
fit
don't
to
think
go
you're
home.
allowed to do that, and I think there are already rules in place that say that if you think someone has been drinking or
Yeah.
drugging, you can't just tell them that they gotta go get in their car.
No, I understand that piece of it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
There's
but
two
somebody
sides
take
to
them
the
home,
story,
but,
but I think you're right, David, that
I think that the rules that I learned when I worked at Foglio, and I forget what they called it, but if you're a supervisor and you're the person that comes in that you feel is intoxicated on one thing or another, you are supposed to take them for a test. That's with a CDL license.
Yeah.
right.
say it
So
that.
we're
That's
getting,
with a
we're getting the
CDL
whole, we're getting cross-wired here, right?
Yes.
The CDL has its own issues, right? So we're gonna add these 8 pages, is that what you said it was?
Yeah, give or take.
We're gonna add that to this personnel policy, right? I think what Dwayne's saying is that, hey, you could be anywhere and forget about the CDL for a minute. somebody shows up to work and there's something, obviously, they're intoxicated or they're under the influence or whatnot, what legal right do we have to
I guess it's,
either to recommend a task or send them home, take them home, whatever the case may be? That, I think, you're gonna have to word out with Pat Dunn.
8.2, second paragraph, you and I are gonna have to work with Pat Dunn to see if we can beef that up. See how much we can beef that section up to go to this point here.
And there might be,
It
and she
demonstrated
may
that-
very well say that you can't do that, but there are a lot of municipalities that don't have drug programs that still have to deal with employees that may show up to work and they're unfit to work. So what's the language that you use to do that, to deal with that?
This just says you're subject to corrective discipline up to and including termination, and we'll see if we can broaden
It's
that.
not that they
you got to prove
consumed
that they're
anything.
doing it, you gotta assume that they've done something
Well,
before you can,
if they were consuming it on the job, that's an easy one, right?
Yeah.
You say, that's it, right? But we're talking about people that may show up prepared to go to work, but you'll have to sort that out with the legal community.
Well, in order to certify that assumption, you have to have training for that also.
Yeah. And that could very well be
Supervisor would have to have that
what she was
knowledge.
telling you, is that you get further down the road into what have you got approved or what you don't have approved. But it may very well be as simple as all supervisory people have to
You
go
guys don't
through
have that.
annual training.
You guys all have that, the paperwork that we gave out for that big presentation we did on the drug test?
Oh, sure, I've got all of that.
Okay, because it was all in that, but that was part of all the process that was made. You know, Pat gave us a lot of good information that time. We talked to Pat and the lady from, well, the gentleman, whoever it was from, Department of Labor. I think that's it.
Well, I guess if there are issues with, from a legal standpoint, where we can't address that, then that's one thing. But there has to be something that, so employees know that, okay, if you show up, this is what's gonna happen. Right? You just can't come in to work and,
I mean, you can have, I don't know if you've got any policy here, but each employee can come in here with some type of pot in them right now, in their lunch bag or baggage, because it's legal. Half an ounce or I don't know what it is, but you can carry it on you. So it's not illegal.
which is the
to-
next question is, can you be in possession while you're on town property?
I think you
I
can
would say
regulate that
we can
because
regulate
of
that.
the
Just
federal
can't do that.
law right now.
Right. It's like having a firearm, right? I mean, unless you've got a licensed firearm, you can't just well, I guess you can now in Maine, it's open carry, right? But,
That's true, but you still can't carry a firearm like on school property or in a bar.
Post
if it's
I mean,
posted.
Gary can't say, come on in my office and pull out the drawer and have, a bottle of champagne or something and say, we're gonna celebrate a vote tonight. I mean, there's something that we have the authority to say you can't have alcohol or drugs on town property, right?
But I did cross out the word possession on page 11. The use.
Well, I know that there's state provisions for it. You can't have alcohol in a public place like the town
Right.
hall. So that, the statute covers that aspect of it.
So we've got to go over this with a fine tooth comb with Pat.
I was gonna
Okay.
say, I'm only throwing this out so that you can take it to Pat, but the possibilities are there at this point.
Okay,
It's a slippery slope too, because
Yeah.
there's
No, I
certain
mean, that's
there's certain
especially-
type of over-the-counter antihistamine medications that can throw you for a loop, or allergy meds that you can have an adverse reaction to. So it'll give you the same symptoms of.
all right, so you're gonna go rework this thing.
Yeah, and
I mean,
we'll
not
pull the
rework it,
CDL
but-
section and make that another section of
Right.
embedded in here. And we'll see how that's gonna relate to the drugs and alcohol section of 5.2 on page 11. And
Okay,
I think there'll be two separate sections there, there should be.
all right. Anything else?
Okay to revisit this on the 14th?
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Yeah,
that,
I
Jerry?
think we need to get it, we need to get it done sooner than later. Okay, other, discussion vote to the minutes of October 10th regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Pending decisions, we've got the comprehensive plan listing and the central station improvements. We're gonna meet on the 21st on that. Week's action list, I think we've got what you need to do.
What did we have initially, the central station improvements were on here for
Well, just so that we kept,
some of the things you already said?
from a budget perspective, right? I think that's what we talked about last time, was let's keep it on as a,
I did have a conversation with a couple of the cemetery committee, and they have very, very low on members.
Yeah.
I think there's two
Yeah,
or
let's-
three
let's-
left on that cemetery committee.
Oh, they had
It used to be pretty healthy.
15 last summer.
Yeah,
let's, for next meeting, let's pull the need of all of the committees, and we'll make sure that we read it over as part of the agenda, and looking for people on those things. All right,
Review the vacancies?
yeah.
They're dying off.
Sherry has handed me a list of things that she has already. We've got Chris coming in on the town audit. Game of chance license for the Lions. Curtis Bullard, the U.S. Postal Service discussion regarding establishment of East Waterboro Post Office. Does he want to come in?
Yeah, wants to talk.
Cool. All right. That'll answer some questions. Or cause
Hopefully.
maybe more. Okay. Anything else that you want to see on the, one of the things that, talking the other day at the ecomaine meeting, a lot of the towns are doing is moving away from quote-unquote recycling committees and that, and they're moving to these sustainability committees. And so the town's looking at a bigger piece of sustainability of the municipality, not just waste. So we might want to revisit because right now we got nothing, right? for
Been a couple of
inputs.
years, but it is in the charter.
Right, so we need to really
Yeah.
stimulate
recycling,
I think we call it recycling
well,
transfer station now.
the list is out, and I mean, we're on the lower side of
Yeah.
the
Yeah, and you gotta, all of those
21 towns
all of those municipalities that are high have
have their own.
curbside pickup and mandatory
Yeah.
recycling. So, just so you kind of
Oh,
put that
no,
in
I
perspective.
understand that.
We're about in the middle on most of that stuff.
Yeah, we're 16-18%. All right,
All right.
credits will run here. Anything else?
Clint was here tonight to provide some information on the safety aspect of what we're no longer going to do, or what we're going to do to keep people from getting hurt.
Okay.
Remember we talked about that 2
Yep.
weeks ago? I'm sorry it didn't get on the agenda, but why don't you, the chair's okay, and
David's got
tell us what,
David's got a copy of the operations manual
Okay.
that we have to have this posted. And I went back and kind of, the last time this was done was in 2006. We looked at it in 2013, but the last vote was in 2006. And this is supposed to be voted on, so I completely, everything we've ever tried to change is in here. The new procedures for the packer trucks and unloading is in here, and it's on page 4, it starts on page 4.
Okay.
So it should be put on, you know, if you look at it, you find that it's okay, then it should be brought to a vote and then signed.
So we need to put it on the,
Agenda for the next meeting or whenever.
so the real question,
Thank you,
the
sir.
other question is given the revisions to the charter and everything, should the Board of Selectmen still approve the operations manual at the transfer station, or is that something that?
Gary and I talked about it back, well, maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months.
Quite a while.
And Gary, we think, selectmen should do it, always have.
All right,
And this has to go to the DEP too. It has to be on file with the state.
all right, so it should probably be approved by us.
Yeah.
So we'll put this on the 14th.
But
So
you can read
we'll
over,
Put it in the packet.
you can read over, like on page 4 it starts, and then there's a procedure there. And I did go around and look at all the containers and found that the 2 out here in the yard don't meet any standards at all for safety. And the one that's at the high school, it's all the
So
old.
these are the ones that we're dumping into the
Recycling.
recycling.
And this, if you look out here, all you can do is go out here and look. The chain goes back and it goes in a slot.
Okay,
And when they bang that thing, it can pop out.
Okay.
And that's what happened. And I've talked to Spud, he's gonna come down and weld. If you wanna do these 2 out here, I don't know if we have to ask ecomaine or not, but the one at the high school, we're gonna bring over and he's gonna weld safety chains on it. So that we can, be a little safer.
Let's do them all, please.
Well, all the new ones have all the safety
so,
features.
so the question I have is these silver bullets out here, they don't leave town, right?
Right, they don't.
We
They stay right
we
here.
dump them.
That's right.
Right. So we'll do what we want to do with it.
That's what I'm saying.
We have to, we'll
Well,
cut
the
it off.
safety chain on that.
Possession
Yeah.
of 9
We ain't
pence.
talking. half
You
a
go out and
meter.
look and they got a slot cut in there. where
Ecomaine
they
bought
put-
all this. Ecomaine bought all the silver bullets. Okay, and in theory they own all the silver bullets, but we've always been able to get whatever we've needed.
That's right.
For our use. But if we're now not hauling them back and forth, which we're not, because we're using our compactor to compact the single sort, right? I think if there's a safety benefit to welding safety chains on them, then we ought to do that.
Yeah. They've got the chains out there, but you look the way they hook, and it's just a slot cut, flat piece of metal.
So why don't we do it so that it can't open up like
I don't
that,
think it's
even
gonna
if
be that
somebody.
expensive, it's only the 3 containers. The rest of them all have the safety chains the way they should be.
Okay.
All right?
Anything else, Clint?
That'll do it.
Thank you, Clint.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Clint.
Unless you want me to give you a
Sure.
little bit on EcoMaine's problems.
Why, do we have problems?
He's baiting us, now he's walking away.
I was just there the other day, so. They have problems, they got the,
I spent 2 days up at the conference up there in Bangkok. And what's her name? Lisa, Wolf,
yeah,
and Chelsea, Cara.
yep.
Okay, they were the whole 2 days.
David's not over in the corner there.
Lisa is the communications director for ecomaine,
And very good,
right?
I will
And
say.
the
She's
other-
really,
The other gal took, who was the kid that did all the educational stuff? I say
Yeah.
kid, everybody's a kid to me these days, but the young guy that was, he moved on, he did all the school educational things and stuff, she does that now. So she's gonna be the educational coordinator, right?
what they did is they went completely through the whole study that they're doing on the waste, the garbage, or stuff. that can-
Organics.
Organics. I should remember that, shouldn't I? What I got out of it was, they got a lot of problems before they even think about this, and it's gonna cost these towns a fortune. They've come up with all your packer trucks now will have to have 3 bays in them instead of 2, because you're gonna have to make a second trip just for one or the other. And then they're finding, like in the big cities, Portland, Scarborough, like Scarborough, 85% of their people use garbage disposals, and it goes into the sewer. And a lot of those people are saying, well, we're not going to get involved with these bags. And the bags they've been using aren't capable of holding this garbage for 2 weeks. And people are getting very upset at that. They were telling us all the problems and what the town should do.
Scarborough has terminated their trial
Yeah,
runs. South Portland is still running,
yeah.
but they're learning real quick on what it's like to
Yeah.
handle organics.
Just for
You're
clarity,
talking food waste.
yeah, for the folks back home, we're talking about separating food waste, organics from the waste
From the
stream.
waste stream that's burnt.
like we used to.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they take the organics to a place in Auburn.
Exeter.
Exeter.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Exeter.
It's, they've got a big digester on
Right.
the farm up
And
there.
that goes, they rip open the bags,
Yeah.
it
They
just
did
goes
say
through
they
a
were
process.
taking 4 big truckloads a week out of ecomaine now. But then they're saying that there's a problem with rats, mice, you know.
Okay. Well, the rat
Hey, it's been all
problem,
over the news.
the rat problem has been resolved. So, well,
Well, they-
you know, you get, they brought in a different waste, right, or they separated a waste, so it was more concentrated. Certainly, they had a rat problem.
Yeah.
And, what they didn't do was to up their control mechanism, so now they've done that, and, but it was reported on WGAN.
Yes. But they did say South Portland's recycling rate went from 29% to 38%. But,
It was like 6,700 tons or something. No, 2,700 tons between the two communities.
well, Scarborough had in 6 months had 26 ton. I didn't get what Portland's was. I didn't, they were just going through.
It's in the annual report.
And then they have a problem with containers in there too. Scarborough used the 6-gallon container, Portland used the ones they dump
In the
out of the
annual
truck.
report, you guys should be getting it. They were, talked to Denise, right? So they wanted a list of who should get them, so. Okay.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Been moved. Do I have a second to adjourn?
Second that.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Thank you for coming. Good night. You're gonna shut the,
I am, yes. In the doghouse if I know.
Sherry, this RKO report is the town's, right, the only